Hello and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Friday, the 28th of March. I am Flatcapcallum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. All right, a better day Thursday. We'll do the review of that shortly. We've got 4 horses for Friday, so it's a nice straightforward Yankee with some singles on, and they're all over the chip shop. I've got a Fontwell, a Wetherby, a Southwell, and a Dundalk. Anything but Lingfield is the aim of the game for Friday. Don't have anything massively against Lingfield, but my stats aren't great for there. But yeah, if there was anything really good, I would have been included it in. But 4 horses, 9.25. And then, I mean, I'm not planning it as long as last night's video. I mean, clearly, you get feedback if you ramble on too long. As you know, it's Marmite's great in it. But there was a couple of things I was going to talk about just in terms of, it was a response to some comments and stuff in the videos and stuff. So I was going to talk about that afterwards. Anywho, right, let's go to review. Okay, so it was an evening interest. And we started off with what turned out to be a cracker. Sunny Southwest 22s. Some will have been on at 25s, I think, if you got on last night. Backed all the way into 15-2. There was a mid-race incident where a horse jinked and carried out a couple of the big stables horses. But ultimately, the front two, as far as I would read the form, did finish first and second. A win and a victory for a small stable. And I know lots of folk will look at it and go, it's backed into 15-2, must have been well fancied. People do make those assumptions sometimes, and sometimes that is true, and that is what happens, that horses are well fancied by a yard or inside knowledge. I would say the reason that horse was much shorter than the off, because I wasn't sure if it was going to go shorter, to be fair, was much more about the fact that there wasn't a strong feeling from any of the other yards about their horse, and actually therefore the market corrected because the form was kind of as I suggested, that it was the best piece of form. So yeah, nice win, because we haven't had a nice winner like that for a couple of weeks, so that was good. Then we had Darkside Prince, a little bit unfortunate, definitely got a little bit hampered in the straight, finished third, and then we were rolling on, all excited for the last race, and it was a bit of an anticlimax. So Court of Session got caught out wide. I mean, it couldn't get out of that draw, 12 draw. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And yeah, it was 3 wide all the way around. So, I mean, I think even if it wasn't 3 wide, it still probably wouldn't have been anywhere near. And then Billy Mill, I thought was running a nice enough race, and then just could not leave that rail, or didn't leave the rail. So that was not its true running at all, because you had all of the decent horses finishing on most races at Chelmsford last night were finishing up the middle of the track and not stuck on the rail like Billy Mill. So it's one to keep an eye on, because the price will go up for next time it runs, because it'll get marked down as a bad run. I think it was a bad track placement more than anything else. Not that the horse it was necessarily anything wrong with it. So single back on Sunny Southwest, and we got a place double Sunny Southwest and Darkside Prince 35 each way double. So I got this 20.63 back, profit of 12.63. Minus the 4 from the day before, that was 8.63 up for the week. Last week we were down about £6 and something. So since Cheltenham, in terms of the 2 weeks since Cheltenham, we are currently sat plus 2.6, £2.61. So it's like high octane action on the Flat Cap Callum channel. £2.61. I think that's about 7% ROI for those 2 weeks. Clearly, you need a bit more than that. We needed a bit of a nice result in that last race to get something much better than return. But £12 profits, £12 profit. Profitable week so far, up by £8, and we're investing £9.25. So we could suddenly be on heading into Saturday behind by £1. Like it's interesting, isn't it? Because you just keep talking to small monies. At some point, along the way, how long we'll have to wait, who knows? But it will happen. Will it? A nice decent win, and we won't keep talking about £1 here and £2 here and all the rest of it. So, this is my Friday offering. Bet 1, the only bet, 9.25. Starting at 3.45 at Fontwell. It's decent quality handicap in terms of class prize money stuff. That 345 Fontwell. Call of the Dogs, definitely single figure price in my book. The only negative is it's coming off a bit of a break, but it's got tons more experience at Fontwell than anything else in the field and on good ground, and it hasn't actually run a bad race at Fontwell on good ground ever. So if it does on Friday, it will be the first time. Has it got enough in the tank to be a winner off that mark? Debatable, but it's definitely worth playing at 14-1. So Call of the Dogs is in. 5:15 Southwell, the Crafty Master. We backed it Cheltenham week. It was beaten ahead at 11-1 at Newcastle. Raised £2 for that. They were well clear in that race, and it's off a competitive enough mark. So there's a little bit of value in the 9-1, I think. It's just made it in, the Crafty Master at 9s. 5:50 Wetherby. Pagliamo. It's a bumper race. We've had some good success in Irish bumpers, a la yesterday and previously. Less so in UK bumpers, since certainly in this calendar year. It's marginal in the sense of I made it very slightly third best. The first two, I think, on form are quite clear. I made that slightly better than a horse that's like about a third of the price. And there's just a couple in there from decent stables that have got decent enough pedigrees, and if either of those are up to it on debut in a bumper, then we might be looking more like 4th, 5th place. So I think it's worth a spin, but it wouldn't be a strong one from a bumper point of view. So the day before, I said that was the best piece of form, and we were looking for the big stables to kind of not perform. They didn't. This one is a little bit different because I'm saying it's third best, so an unlikely winner. And then finishing, I've backed this horse in the 6:30 Dundalk a few times. Is She Now? It's a strange profile because some will look at it and go, it's on the decline. It's 7 and it's not doing very much, but it's actually it's still learning the job. I'm not saying necessarily improving, but probably getting a bit more race savvy, because despite the fact it's 7, it hasn't run very much, and it came late to racing. And last time, I think it just got going a bit too late, and then it came up on that standside rail at Dundalk, which can be okay, but most of the time is not where I'd want my horses to be running. The time before, when it went over 2 miles of Dundalk, it actually ran quite a nice race, and we've got about £6 lighter today. I think there's definitely something in that horse. I think it will do something sometime. So let's hope it's there, because there's a lot of thin marginal bits in the Dundalk races. So I wasn't in love with anything else at all, and that one I was happy enough to include in the bet. So 9.25, 25p each way Yankee is the main bet. 50p each way singles on the 3 double figure priced horses, and a 75p win on the Crafty Master. Bookie advice is basically don't use Hills or 888, they're the worst, and then Coral or Ladbrokes, because legs 1 and legs 4 are 4 places with most bookies, but not Hills, 888 and Corals or Ladbrokes. I think Corals and Ladbrokes are one of them and not the other. So you want 365, Paddy, Sky, Betfair, Betway, Betfred, Boyle Sports, BetMGM, something like that. And that's it, 9.25. All right. And then, the other things I was going to say about some of the comments. When you're an elite sportsman, right? And I'm not talking about myself because I am not an elite sportsman. When you're at the absolute top of your game and you're like a world beater, nobody really says anything to you. They just go, well done, you're doing great. As soon as you are not quite as good as you were, or you're not having the best day, then everybody is a bit of an armchair critic, aren't they? And they kind of give you feedback. Now, what I'm operating here is quite away from world class. Now, clearly there are days where we win £100, which few and far between, but they happen. Those ones are the days where people are not really going to give you much feedback on anything. They're just going to say, well done. Most days are not like that. And then what happens is when you go on a series of days without anything particularly interesting or exciting happening with your results, people are more inclined to give you feedback. And based on that, I mean, I've had a lot the last couple of days, to be fair. Whatever it is doesn't really bother me or impact me in terms of, people say nice things, it's great. People say constructive things, it can be helpful. often people say things that I disagree with, and sometimes people say things that are completely wrong. All I'd ask is that anyone commenting, as most people do it respectfully, and I'd also ask if you're a follower of the channel, a fat capper, if you see people who are writing things you don't agree with, if you want to respond to them, it's entirely up to you, but I'd ask you to make sure you are respectful to them. You never know people's circumstances, you never know, people might be having a tough time, they want to vent at the world. When someone's, I've had a few people have sort of apologised at points where they've sort of come on the chat after a night out and a bit smashed up and probably regret what they've said in the morning. So just bear that in mind. There are people that casually will pop into the channel and not really understand it, and because, as most of you have known, watched for a long time, what I'm doing is unconventional as far as what most people would tell you, advise you. There are things I say that other people would say. There are things that I say that most other people do not say or don't agree with. And all I'd say to you is you've got to make your own judgments. My stats are there. Last year we ended up on a losing year. We're down about 12%. True fact. And we've had a bad Cheltenham, which has cost my stats at the moment. But outside of that, it's okay. That's how I would read the narrative. You entirely open to read it yourself. You can then go, well, 2022 and 2023 looked better than that. They did. People can make their own conclusions. But I absolutely expect people to come along on a regular basis and throw stones. There's always mischievous people that do that, and there are always people that are not, I don't want to say not educated in the world of horse racing, but as in that they hear a certain narrative of a certain type of thing, and that's what they follow. So when you're me and I'm chucking out different interesting bets, I say interesting, some people say weird or silly, and you're backing horses at bigger prices, and you're talking about horses that you think actually are probably good for third. There's plenty of folk that just don't think that's the right way to do things. So people are entitled to their opinions, and if people didn't want to watch, then I wouldn't carry on doing the videos. So as much as there are things that I do because that's the way I do them and that's the way I like doing them, I'm always really, really open to feedback. So if people want to actually give me some feedback and want to change some things, then absolutely open to it. Sometimes people give you feedback and actually it either doesn't make any sense at all and I'm confused by it, or it's things that I don't necessarily agree with, or it's stuff that my years of experience have told me a way of doing things, and I don't follow the crowd. So anyway, a little ramble to say that if you are a fan of the channel and you see people saying things, feel free to write back to people, respond to people. Make sure you do it respectfully, because you never know what people's circumstances are, and it doesn't pay to be you don't have to pay to be kind to people, even if you don't think the intention of that person isn't necessarily the most positive. But as we know, there are folk that are here to cause mayhem and mischief and stuff, and those ones get the heave-ho. The ones that sort of ask things and out of some sort of genuine curiosity, they're really entitled to. I just won't necessarily just change everything I'm doing. So there we go. There's a little bit of a ramble about that, but it's very nice that people sort of kind of defend my honour or stick up for me and all that sort of stuff. I've done it long enough now where I just kind of know what happens. I know the gig that you go on a run where nothing much happens for a while, and just more people say stuff, and it's usually people who you've never heard from before or whatever. So you don't know whether they've been watching on the sidelines for 6 months and this is the point they're having a pop. The ones that are a bit confusing are the ones that wait till you've had a winner and then they kind of have a pop. That is strange, because do that on a losing day. Don't do that on a winning day. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, there we go. All right, I better stop the ramble. Don't need more feedback on that. But I get that, right? I get it. Like, some people here because they like the channel. For some reason, they want to listen to me chuntering on about stuff. And for other folk, they couldn't give two shits and they don't care and they just want the tips and they think all of this is nonsense. There are others in between. All right, I'm going to plan to be Friday. Yes, I would like to get, yeah, Friday night. I've got stuff on Saturday morning, so Friday night I really want to get the video up Friday night. Interesting day on Saturday. We've got the Lincoln, we've got the Spring Mile, which is sort of like the silver version of the same race, both scheduled to have 22 runners. I think there's another race at Doncaster on the same day that looks like a decent field size. There's one at the Curragh. So we're sort of suddenly swinging into flat turf stuff. So good from a field size point of view. I just need to wait and see when I actually get there on the day what I can find that I'm happy to put out as a bet. There's also this interesting meeting at Kempton on the all-weather as well, which is a better standard than the average Kempton all-weather meeting. So yeah, it looks promising, but we'll see when I actually get to finalising anything on Friday night how good or comfortable I am. But expectation is I might even go crazy and have more than one bet, so there might even be more than one bet for Saturday. We'll see. All right, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.